Hey everyone, it's Alyssa and welcome to my online learning course. I developed a sixth grade math statistics unit in the LMS called Canvas because that's what my school currently uses. And what we're seeing right now is my welcome page. This is my home page, and I have a brief welcome statement for the students as well as just some basic information. On the left-hand side is the navigation menu. This is where the students will access any materials that they need, like their syllabus, where they'll check their grades, check any announcements that I've posted, and access the modules. And modules is where the students will mainly live in this online course because that's where all the units of instruction for the course will be. So there are 8 modules within this course, including the welcome and course introduction. And as we can see, there's a lot of information in this welcome module, but it's all important and necessary information for the students to know in order to be successful in the course. So for instance, the students may need to know what kind of technology requirements they need, what are the behavior expectations, how do they submit specific assignments, as well as the universal design considerations that were used when making this course. So when they click on this page, they'll get a great example of a universal design learning example that I've been using, which are the audio instructions. And I've tried incorporating that with every major piece of information so that students with read aloud accommodations or students who prefer to listen versus read have that ability and are being supported in that way. There's also multiple forms of representations like web pages and videos, multiple forms of expression like quizzes and discussion forums, and then multiple forms of engagement like their video cameras, Flipgrid, and being able to use their learning devices. So like I said, modules is where the students will be living while in this course. And each module, starting in week 1, have a standards and a learning outcome page as well as a checklist for the week. And beginning in week 2, they also have a rubrics page. And the rubrics page just lists all of the rubrics that I will be using that week to assess their work. So we're actually going to look at week 2 in depth just because that is a major chunk of the unit that the students will be partaking in. Measures of central tendency is mean, median, mode, and range, and that is a big part of statistics, and it's actually the hardest part of the unit from past experiences. So the standards and learning outcomes, there are 2 standards for this particular week, and I've also listed the associated lesson objectives that are I've tried to make them a SMART goal so that they are measurable, so that they have to be at least a 70% accuracy on the independent quiz just to give them concrete knowledge of what they have to do in order to meet mastery. And if we actually look at that associated checklist, we'll see that the lesson objectives are again listed, but then underneath them, I have put the aligned lesson activities that the students need to complete, as well as the assessment that will be used to assess their mastery of the content. So for example, this first objective, the students have to read the content material, complete the practice activities, partake in the collection of knowledge forum, and then they'll be assessed using a quiz. And where in this second example, a lot of the lesson activities are the same: read content material, complete the practice activities, but there's also an added one of they have to complete the self-assessment, and then they'll be graded and assessed using a discussion forum and a quiz. Some of the tools that I'm going to be using to teach the activities are linked within the module. So this is a linked URL to a Khan Academy video that just goes over statistical questions, what they are, and how to write them. I've also incorporated other forms of information like web pages. So they would click on this and it would pop up a web page that they have to read. So again, trying to incorporate different forms of representation. We have something that they can read and we have something that they can watch. In some of the other videos, I've included notes pages in order to fully engage the students, because then they're required to take notes while they're watching the video, and then later they'll be required to submit those for a grade. And so that way I'm fully engaging the students and making sure that they're actually watching the videos that they are required to watch. Some of the practice activities that they'll be doing to just kind of practice, because that's the thing about math is not something that you can just learn one day and automatically be great at it every single time. It does require practice. And so I've included some real world example practices for them to do. That's just very basic. Here are your pre-test scores that I'm going to input once they actually take the pre-test. Find the mean, median, mode on them. Other things that I'm going to include are quizzes assignments. This is actually their self-assessment that they're going to be using. Quizzes is a great tool. We love it in our classroom. The students love it, and they can just do it as a practice, or I can assign it as a homework game. And what it does is at the end, it gives them a score, gives them a grade, so that then they can assess themselves and their current knowledge on the topic. Some ways that I'm differentiating instruction is through choice. So in week 2, we're going to take a day where the students have a choice on what activities they want to do. Do they want to do a review game? Do they want to complete a worksheet? Do they want to do an in-class review session with me because they need that extra support, or do they even need further support by going back to concrete manipulatives in order to take the abstract to a more concrete basic concept? Another thing that I'm doing for differentiation, which is actually really unique to Canvas, is something called Mastery Pass. And basically what that does is, based on the student's mid-test score, Canvas will assign them a specific assignment. So if the students made between a 0 and a 2, then they have to do corrective teaching with me. If they made between a 2 and a 4, then they have 3 different assignments that they can choose from based on what they feel like they need the most support in. And if they made between a 4 and a 5, then that's considered success, and they get to move on with their video reflection. In week 5, this is where the project-based learning starts. And if we look at the final project scenario, we can see what the students are actually going to be doing. So the whole idea behind this project is that the students are collecting, analyzing, and describing their own set of data. So they're going to be taking on the role of a doctor for a large private practice, where they will issue patient satisfaction surveys in order to improve the patient's experience whenever they're at their office. And in order to do that, they'll send these surveys out to their patients, which will actually be their peers, and they'll collect the data on their own. They'll analyze the data on their own. They will make observations about it. Okay, what does the data say about our current practice and how well we're doing? And then they'll make future decision-making changes based on that data. So, for example, the data says we're not really good at greeting our patients upon the door. So what are we going to do in the future? We're going to train our staff on how to properly greet patients as they enter the door so that they feel welcomed. Those kind of application skills. Something else that I really think is cool is that the students are going to be able to get some practice using Excel, and it's through this feature of Canvas that's, again, unique to Canvas, called Office 365 Cloud Assignments. And basically what that lets me do is I can take any assignment in my OneDrive and embed it into the assignment page, so that the students don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to access anything else. Everything they need is right here on this page. They can edit the document in this page, and then they can submit the document as is on this page, which is really neat. And it's going to give them practice using a different type of software like Excel, where they can collect all of their data in one location here, and then use the special function features of Excel, like finding the mean and the median, which is really neat because the students don't like doing all of this by hand. And so it's just nice to be able to show them, hey, there is an easier route to take using this technology tool that I'm going to teach you how to use. So that is my online learning experience in a nutshell. I'm super excited to be able to implement this in March, and I look forward to any suggestions or recommendations you guys have. Please give me all the feedback. I am always looking to improve things, which is, again, at the very end of my presentation, I actually do have a Help Miss Bishop Improve This class quiz that I'm going to have the students take. So again, thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing all of you guys' online learning courses.